Alrighty, welcome to the third Totalist raid weapon overview / review. So today we're going to be going over the Steel Medulla, the pulse rifle. It drops from Axis on hard mode, drops it up to 400 attack, and yeah, so this weapon is a medium rate of fire impact class, solid in PvE, but it takes longer to kill. It takes at least 3 bursts to kill in PvP. It really isn't as strong as it used to be, at least. Been some rush to that class. So what we've got here is you've got, of course, the raid perk, Whirlwind's Curse, bonus damage against Fallen, 10% extra damage, and bonus agility. Neither of which are really huge. However, the bonus damage against Fallen makes it essentially you have to use in the raid if you have it at least. Ballistics, we've got CQB, Smart Drift Control, and Smooth Ballistics. The ones to look out for, Smart Drift Control and CQB don't really do much. It doesn't really matter which one you take. But Smooth Ballistics it makes the recoil harder to control, but it does give it a significant boost to range. And it's already, as you can see, it's got a pretty decent starting range statistic, a little under 50, and a really high stability and reload stat to start off with. So it's not really that big of a deal to sacrifice a little bit of stability for a large boost to range. And then so going into the next perk that we've got Full Auto. The weapon can be fired in full auto mode. Really good PvP perk. It bumps up the fire rate just a hair, and it makes it so that you don't have to time your trigger pulls as much at all, really, actually. But in PvE, this doesn't really have much of any effect. I actually like pulling the trigger, doing single pulls in PvE, just so that I can be more accurate and consistently hit headshots, because that tends to take out low tier enemies a lot quicker. For the second tree of perks, we've got high caliber rounds, we've got speed reload, and we've got hand-laid stock. So high caliber rounds actually bumps up the range a little bit, which is nice. You don't really notice it at all though. So they're good at staggering targets. It's essentially what Mighty used to do. And their mass makes the weapon harder to handle. Now, you shouldn't really pay attention to the second part of this perk, because I've noticed essentially really no difference for, at least me playing with this perk. But I do think that it's outclassed by at least one of the other 2 perks on the tree. So going on to speed reload, reload this weapon quickly, so we'll show you the reload without it. It's it's reasonably fast for sure. You don't really need to boost that up that much, and it is a noticeable difference, albeit it's not a lot. And I think it is outclassed by the hand-laid stock perk, the final one on the tree. So it's increased stability, but reduced range. Now, initially when you take this, it looks like a pretty iffy perk, because while you do get capped stability, which is immense, it's ridiculous, the range does drop pretty low, and that's one of the stats that you do, it is one of this weapon's strengths, and that you want to try to keep high. But if you pair hand-laid stock with smooth ballistics, you get very nearly capped stability, and then you get most of your range back, so you don't really lose that much of it. That's my personal perk combination, at least, that I use. And the final perk is Sign of 4. So letting 3 bursts on the target causes the fourth burst to do 33% extra damage. Is nice, but most of the time, unless you are using your primary to take down major or high tier enemies, which you most of the time won't be doing, unless you're out of special arm or heavy ammo, it's not that useful. In PvP, it can produce some pretty nice results, being able to 2-burst people, but you have to essentially be getting a double kill, or a kill before you can 2-burst someone, which doesn't come up that often. And then also going off of the, well, actually I'll show you it on this blue mother here. That's what then, and then I'll show you the, what's that? So it is only 33% extra damage, which is nice, but it isn't anything special. It does its job. It's more damage, but you won't see it really having a huge impact on it. Again, if you're using it to down a higher tier enemy, it's good, but it isn't. Even then, it isn't amazing, because you're getting 33% extra damage on 1 burst, but that's 1 burst out of 4. So spreading that out, that's closer to like an 8% damage increase, which really isn't that good. It's something, to be sure, but it isn't amazing. So my opinions on this weapon, it is a I'm just going to go say that is my personal favorite primary out of all of the raid primaries, but keep in mind that I have not played with the handicap yet, so take that as you will, but I enjoy this weapon. It is easier to control than the Chaos Dogma, probably harder to control than the Genesis Chain, just because it's a very much it's a pulse rifle. It's one of the highest stability pulse rifles that we've got right now. But I think the fact it's way down by a couple of things. Number one, that it is a Heka pulse rifle, which it fires 4 rounds in a burst, but the bullets are kind of spaced out, if you will, so that it doesn't do. Each round does. Each burst does the same amount of damage as a 3-round burst from a normal pulse rifle would, or very nearly the same amount of damage, which, when coupled with the extra time that you have to essentially keep the reticle on a target's head, makes it a little bit worse. And that's just something I have to take in mind. For a lot of people, it's not really that big a deal. For a lot of people, it is. So it's a personal preference thing for that. But this weapon, it is so reliable, and it can put out just really good damage on anything. So you can just take this into essentially any activity. I've had success with it in PvP. I've had, it's a workhorse in PvE in the raid. I really like using this on Siege Engine and Axis, not so much Bostic. That Genesis Chain is my preferred. But it's one of my favorite weapons. It's honestly, being perfectly honest, it's probably like a B+ A- type weapon, where it's good, but it isn't outstanding. But it's just one of my. It's a pleasure to use. I mean, it is. The recoil is nothing. It's one of just the easiest weapons to just do well with on any given day. It doesn't matter how well you're playing with it. It just makes it easier to do things. That's what I like about this weapon, is that it will perform the same in every activity. It's going to be good in everything. So I like it. Go ahead, go and use it. If you got it from the raid, go and use it. And if you didn't get it from the raid, do it again. You're gonna want this weapon at some point. It's a good weapon. So yeah, with that said, this has been Max here with Destiny /Totalist, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.